Okay, attendees in listen only mode. I'm going to start unmuting people now. So I'm starting Barb. Barb.
Yep.
We should be able to hear you speak. Okay.
Yep.
Karen next. Karen, you're online.
Thank you.
Good morning. And Barb, you can self-mute now.
Huh?
And Lynn, you're next. I'm unmuting now. Lynn, are you with us? Lynn? Okay, I'm going to remute Lynn until she's ready to join. And Nina Butler, I'll be unmuting you now. Nina, can you speak?
I'm here.
Fantastic. Thank you. And we'll try Lynn again. Lynn, can you hear us? Oh, sounds like she's not attentive already. That's the danger of unmuting people without talking to them first. You don't know what's going on in the background. Fran, I see that you've arrived. As soon as you enter your PIN, I'll be able to unmute you. Lynn's ready to be unmuted. Okay, Lynn, I'm unmuting you now. Lynn,
Thanks.
you are unmuted. Thank you.
Mic's on. Hello?
Welcome, Mick.
How do you like that? I got on the first try this time.
Fantastic. At the farm today.
Pardon?
I mean, I take it you're not at the farm today. Weren't you at a farm the last time you were trying to connect?
Yeah, I'm out in Colorado on my farm. Yeah, I'm out there now. I got a new computer.
Nice.
That's part of my problem was my computer. I had to get it updated. It was like 100 years old.
Fantastic.
And it took me a while to get it because I had the IT person set everything up, but they forgot to set up this thing, the go-to webinar. Oh my God, it's not on there.
And Fran, I see you've entered your PIN. I'm going to unmute now. Fran, you're unmuted.
All right, I'm on.
Welcome aboard.
Fran,
I'm having trouble getting into the records. It keeps taking me to whether I owe any money for membership or not. So maybe we can work on that another time.
Yeah, that's the first I'd heard of that. I'll take a look. I can probably look at it during the meeting since I'm not an active voting participant. I can multitask and see what's going on there.
Oh, multitasking, something I used to be able to do. Not so much anymore. Well, I'm going to put myself on mute.
All right. And Gary, I'm unmuting you now. Gary, you should be able to speak with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Sarah, you'll need to enter your PIN before I can unmute you. Sarah Pierpont. Sarah, it looks like you've entered your PIN. I'm unmuting you now. Sarah, you should be able to speak with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. And Alec, I see you've joined. As soon as you enter your PIN, I can unmute you. Oh, and we're at 9:01 for anybody paying attention to the time.
I am.
Is Sarah D'Souza on?
Yes, she is.
Okay, because I don't have control of the screen. I came in on the other one, not the controller one. So
Okay.
This is Sarah. What we typically do is we are just gonna leave the agenda up on the screen, and it really is incumbent on all the board members to open and close and read their documents however they choose to. It just doesn't make sense to open up the documents because everyone reads at a different pace, and the size of the document isn't that big. We're there. The agenda will be up on the board, and I also sent out a Word version to you and Mary Alice, Gary, and Dave this morning. So
Sarah, I didn't get it. There was no attachment.
I got it.
was that mine? I've got it.
I got it.
I resent it to you, Mary Alice, but I'll do it again.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Okay, I guess, how many we got on now, Bob? 16, it looks like.
Yeah, and Susan Gordon, you'll need to enter your PIN before I can unmute you. And so we have, let's see, 11 plus Dave and Mick, 12, 13, 14. Looks like we have 14 voting members, plus Sarah and I.
Is there any more people popping in right now, or we pretty much got what we got? Because there's quite a few people said they weren't going to make it at the last second. So okay, I'll go ahead and Wayne's here. Okay, thanks, Wayne. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and welcome everybody to the Christmas version of the NRC board meeting and the end of the year meeting and any other holiday we'd like to say, and the Hanukkah meeting and all the holidays. So it's the holiday meeting. Get them all in. But since I'm looking at snow-capped mountains, I'm in the white Christmas mode. So if I go too Christmassy, somebody can slap me verbally over the phone and get me straightened out. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and open the meeting and approve. Somehow we got to approve the agenda before we have the meeting roll call and know who's out there. So we'll hold that off. I'm going to start with kind of a need that we need to do a little better on job is getting the reports in on time. We had one come in at 2:30 in the morning yesterday, and another one come in later in the week. And again, we need, if we want to take advantage of the good deal that Chantel showed us we could do to make the meetings more meaningful, then we need to do our work and get the reports in on time so everybody has a chance to read them. Luckily, there's not a lot of reports this time, so we're in pretty good shape, even though every report was late. I'll just call it that because that's what it was. And I thank Gary Liss for making sure that I got because I forgot to get the notice out early to get them in early. Luckily, I got it out on last week on Thursday, and everybody was supposed to get in by Monday. The first one came in on Tuesday, and then we had one last night or Thursday morning. So to do this right, we really need to do our homework and get everything done, and everybody get a chance to review the reports. So, anywho, that's enough of the
Mary
lecturing.
Alice, the secretary. I really don't have the word. Oh, okay, never mind. Here they came. They just came. Sorry. Okay, I got it now. I can take minutes.
It's still up on the screen, Mary Alice, so you're okay. So at this point, the meeting is been called to order. So Mary Alice, will you run the roll call, please?
Yes. Sorry, and I need a Word version, not the Word version on the screen, so that I can type. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. Hang on. Sorry, I just got it a second ago. So sorry.
I have the board list in front of me if you want me to do it.
I'll be ready in a second, Gary. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, it's not in here. Oh goodness. Okay, go ahead, Gary. Yeah, sorry, it's usually in the minutes.
Rick Anthony, Susan Attridge, Stephen Bentillo.
Here.
Is that Stephen?
That is.
Welcome. Nina Butler,
Here.
Maggie Clark, Susan Collins.
Here.
Hold on. That is not the proper list. Susan Attridge and Maggie Clark are not on the board. Mary Alice, I sent you the board list this morning.
Oh, really? Okay, hang on.
So try to find that.
Yeah, just a sec. From you, Dave?
Yes, from me.
All right.
It was part of a discussion about minutes.
Oh, yeah, I saw Lynn. Oh, yeah, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And we also have it on the screen now, if that's helpful, from the website.
I have to be able to mark names. Okay, it's opening, I think.
Yeah, I've got the list here now too. So.
Okay. Oh, all right. So it's the list of, wait, the executive, oh God, is this two different lists? Board of directors and the executive committee?
Board of directors includes the executive committee, so just read the names on the board of directors.
Great. Okay, so Pete Adrian is a no, right? He's oh my God.
Just start over again and start reading the names. That'll be easier.
Yes, I'm trying to also record them. Okay. Holly Arthur, no. Mick, yes. Susan, yes.
Hang on. Just start read down the list again and just read the whole list, and then yays or nays can come in.
Okay, I'm also trying to mark them like as minutes while reading them.
Yeah.
And the version I have, let's see, enable editing. Okay.
All right, I'll read the list. How about
I got it. All right,
Mick,
Mick, Susan, Barb Ekstrom.
Yes, here.
Okay, Susan Gordon.
Here.
David's here. Gary's there. Mary? No, Mary? Karen O'Brien?
No, Mary's not coming.
Here.
Okay, Sarah? Anthony
Pierpont
Rios?
here.
Oh, Sarah Pierpont, thank you.
Did you get that one? Sarah
Yep.
Pierpont, yeah.
Yep, thank you. Anthony Rios? Okay, Justin? Rick
I'm here.
Anthony? Oh, that's Justin? Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and then Rick Anthony are you there yet? No. Steven's here.
Yep.
Nina's here. Alec Cooley?
Here.
Okay, good. Chantal?
Here.
Wayne?
Here.
Mark? No. Leslie? Fran?
I'm sorry,
Here.
Leslie is excused, just to mention it.
Okay. Myself, Lisa Ryder?
She's on mute and can't get unmute, but she's on.
She's here. Okay, great. And Lynn Rubenstein?
Here.
And Bill Turley? No? Okay. Does that sound like the whole list?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, thank
You
you.
count
Sorry
how
for
many people are here for us?
I will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
All right, we have quorum.
Yep. Quorum is
Yes, we
present.
do.
Okay, Dave, before we go into the minutes, I think Dave wanted to take a couple seconds and ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, as you know, we post and ask the board to review the minutes from every month. Mary Alice, can you mute your thing for a second? Thank you. I hear you typing, that's why. And a number of folks have asked me to bring up the topic of the minutes. While we want to compliment Mary Alice on the job that she's doing, we know it's a tough job. But the minutes should be an overview of the topics that are discussed during the board meeting. These are public documents, and so we don't want to give all our dirty laundry. So we need to kind of scale back the detail of the minutes, and we'll work with you, Mary Alice, on that. I think Sarah Pierpont can help you with that as well, since she was outgoing, or she was the last secretary. So she could help you with the minutes.
Happy to do so.
The other issue is we need to go back and put in the names of the board members and get rid of the email addresses on past board minutes, because those are accessible by any person, and that's when you get in trouble with the spam emails and things like that I've experienced in the past. So if we could try to go back and cut and paste and get rid of the email addresses that are on some of the past minutes. All right. And if you have any questions,
right.
like I said, we can work with you on it. And if you have any questions, there's a lot of people to help. All right.
Thank you for your input. I'll make those changes.
Thank you.
Should I not even put that in the minutes that you just said that?
No, there's nothing to approve there.
Not
so-
official business. Okay,
Not
cool. Yes, keep it simple. Gotcha.
Done.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the agenda as proposed. Vantillo.
Second, this is Susie.
Did we lose Mick?
Oh, I got to go off of mute. I got too many things going on. This new computer is good because it actually works, but don't put this in the minutes, but I don't know how to work it. So anyway, so the motion's been made by Vantillo, seconded by Susie to approve the agenda as presented. Any opposed? Any abstained? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
aye. Therefore, the motion passes. Okay. Now we can move along. Thanks, Stephen. Keep me on track, babe. Now we need to go over a motion to approve the board minutes from November 22nd meeting. Need a motion and or discussion.
This is Lynn.
Motion to approve.
I'm going to move that we don't vote on either of them. Per the observations that Dave made, I think we need to hold off.
Okay. So are you making a motion to table the minutes
Yes.
till the next meeting?
Exactly. Thank you.
So a motion has been made to table the minutes. We need a second.
Seconded, Fran.
Fran seconded. So the motion was made by Lynn and seconded by Fran. Any opposed? Any abstain? Hearing none, the motion's approved. Treasurer's report. Charlotte, are you on?
Is Susan
I don't
Collins?
remember. Or Susan Collins. It says Charlotte here, but
I'm not sure why it says Charlotte.
This
Yeah,
is Sarah.
okay, that's okay.
I've heard from Charlotte. We submitted all the documents to our accountant. We don't have a report the accountant wasn't able to get the information to Charlotte in time to prepare a report, and Charlotte is not on the call today. I don't believe Susan Collins on either, but there's nothing to report.
Susan's on.
I'm on. I just don't
Oh,
have
sorry.
that. It's the same situation, and I'm actually emailing with Charlotte right now, or
Yeah.
I'm sending an email to Charlotte
I
right
know
now.
Charlotte sent out a reminder requesting, because all the documents were sent in earlier last week, so I'm not really sure why we didn't get a report, but yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so seeing that there's no report available, I'll accept a motion to table the treasurer's report in the November or unless Susan Collins, correct me, you don't have the November financials, right?
Right.
So we'll table the
So
November and the
moved,
December.
Vantillo.
Motion made by Vantillo.
Second, this is Susie.
Susie Gordon seconds. Any abstain from tabling the treasurer's report for December and November? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, Sarah, it's your turn. Sarah D'Souza, Executive Director's report.
Hi, everybody. It's Sarah. I apologize. I sent in the ED report. Just to read, I sent it in this morning. It's a quick read. Just to reiterate what Mick said, it's really, it's difficult to manage the board meeting prep when items literally are coming in up to an hour before the meeting. So there are a couple of steps that I have to take once I get your items to convert them and then upload them and all that good stuff. So please try to get your items in early. As far as my report, I'm going to follow along with the practice that Chantal had suggested. I submit my report. It is as written. Those are some high-level highlights. Kudos, probably in there. The 3 items that I have, or a couple items that I've had in there, are, great work, zero waste. That is just booming right now. That is occupying a huge amount of my time, and in a great way, because there's just a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. We'll talk about that later, and Alec. I have been invoicing for next year. I do need some help and support reaching out to peers in the RO world. Getting, to follow through on the submitting of checks is difficult. Great work by some board members who've reached out to corporate entities. We're starting to see some bigger checks come in from them. We received $5,000 the other day from Waste Management, which was great. And there are some others that I'm working on. There are, again, a number of steps with those. It isn't really quite as simple as just cutting checks and mailing them in. I'm working with a lot of finance departments, trying to get us set up as vendors. This does raise the question of, the IRS piece that we have talked about before, being able to work in these various states as a charitable organization. And I'm not quite sure where that stands with our taxes. I'll leave that to Susie and Susan and Dave to address. And I will, if you have any questions, please just shoot them out.
This is Dave. I will talk about that real briefly. As you may have remember from previous discussions, we rely on a gentleman named Jeff Chagrin. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I think it's Crin.
Crin. To do our taxes. He has done our taxes for a couple of years, and he fell ill last year, right around the time that our taxes were due. And so we missed our extension deadline for the 2017 taxes. He has promised to get them done. They were supposed to be done last week. I've reached out to him again and haven't heard from him. And it's just, it's frustrating, but I believe that Sarah and Jill have tracked back and found that we had already paid the gentleman for his services, so it's kind of hard to force him to do what he's already been paid for. So once that is taken care of, we can then reach out to the state of California, the agency that does the whatever you call the process, registering charitable organizations, and pay our tax. Provide our taxes for 2017, pay our fee, because it says in the website and the information they sent to us is that we're delinquent, but if you have an extension from the IRS, that you're fine and just need to pay it, get up to date once you receive, you file your tax returns. And that's the situation we are with 2018, is that we have an extension until February, I believe it is. And so we're trying to work through the process. Jeff moved, he was his own firm, and he moved into a larger firm. And so he was trying to find someone to do our taxes for us. We're kind of going back and forth with that new organization to see. But if anybody has any suggestions as to an organization that can do our taxes for us, I can't imagine they're that complicated. And I also have talked to a couple of executive committee members. My sister is a CPA and does taxes for actually the Crown Family Foundation in Chicago. And I'm trying to get her to possibly look at it, but I'm also concerned about a conflict of interest, being that she's my sister and I'm currently the president. So any suggestions in terms of a firm that could do that, we'd look quickly for a proposal from them to get it done. So that's where we sit.
Well, Dave, if you state, the conflict of interest and the board acknowledges, are there others on the board that would have issue with us exploring the possibility of someone that we know doing this?
I don't know. I just want to throw it out there. Other fact, I've talked to her, asked her questions about why this is taking this gentleman so long to do it, and she's like, it sounds like a cluster. And so I'm still trying to talk her into the idea of her doing it too.
I'd be willing to accept a motion to authorize Dave to have formal discussions with his sister, the CPA, to go ahead and see what she would be willing to do while we still try and have settlement with the existing accountant, which sounds like it's kind of going around in circles. So if anybody would like to make that motion, I'd be willing to accept that. I don't think I can make motions.
Yeah, this is Nina. I'll make that motion.
Okay, so Nina's made the motion to formally authorize Dave to go ahead
I'll second it.
and then Susie Gordon seconded. Any abstains other than Dave? Maybe the abstain, Dave. Hearing none. Any opposed to the motion? Hearing none, the motion's approved. So Dave, you can go ahead and have those discussions with your sister formally and not be worried about the appearance of any.
Yeah, we don't like each other that much, so I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
How much unpaid services are we in with Mr. Crin?
Just
How
the
much?
2017. We still are working with the new organization.
How much money?
That I don't know. I don't think we paid him for 2018. I don't know that.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like he's in breach, but yes, I'm glad we're pursuing options
Well-
because he should be fired, right? We've been pretty patient. Go ahead.
Okay, one at a time. Talk, please. Susan.
This is Susan Collins. I have, obviously for CRI, we have both an accountant who does our day-to-day record keeping and then a separate accounting firm that does our taxes. So I could ask them for a proposal as well if you wanted that. I don't want to step on toes or anything, but if you
please. I was going to say, if anybody else has any connections in that area, please let me know, because we actually do need to get something set up for the 2018 so we can get those in time for our extension expiration. All right.
And
this
also,
is Chantal. Oh, sorry.
I'll be happy to do that. And Chantal, just one more thing I want to say is just I want to get everybody emotionally prepared. We're probably going to have a slew of fines from all the different states for the charitable registration process for being so late. So just be emotionally prepared for that. It's something we'll have to figure out as we go.
And we'll also have a fine from the IRS for being late as well. I'm hoping that the medical condition excuse of our tax preparer will touch some hearts strings or whatever. Anyways, thank you all.
So do we need a motion then for Susan to get a second quote?
No, she can just go out and do that. The only reason we need the motion was to clear Dave from any potential thought of an impropriety. So, okay. Now,
Karen.
Dave, it is your turn. Oh, go ahead.
I have another question for Sarah if we're ready to move on. I know we had a kind of an early bird deadline of the 18th earlier this week, and I was just wondering if you have any numbers, Sarah, of how many people are registered to this point.
I have that in the conference report, which was submitted and is and is posted, and we'll be updating it in my presentation. This is Gary.
But Karen, this is Sarah. Really good activity. I just transferred $15,000 from the PayPal account into the NRC account because there's a lot of activity. But obviously, they're different pots of money and they're going to be expenditures related to the conference. But we are, Gary and team are doing an exceptional job, and it is likely that they're going to meet their, I shouldn't say it's likely. They're on track, it looks like, to meet the budget goals. But I will defer to Gary.
Excellent.
Yeah, quick answer to that question is it is in the published report, and it's by name. So you'll see all the attendees as they stand as of a couple of days ago. And Gary's doing a great job keeping track of that for us. Any other questions for Sarah?
Yeah, I think we need to, based on her report, I think it looks like we need to consider providing Dave, the approval when there's fluctuations with her hours, given so much activity right now with the conference?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Because her invoices have come in slightly higher than what is budgeted or what the cap is. So we'll discuss it in a few minutes here.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? If not, we'll move on to the president's report.
Okay. Sarah, I was wondering, did you share your invoices with everyone? It doesn't look like it's an attachment.
No, I haven't shared the actual invoices. I shared that, just as an overview, I'm contracted for 20 hours a week, and I have been maintaining that 20 hours a week. I think the NRC's budgeted $2,000 a month, and mathematically, that just doesn't really work with a $30 work rate at 20 hours a week.
I think it's actually $2,500 a
Okay.
month.
And
But
so
we have some room to, if you equate 20 hours a week times 30, it comes out to about $2,400. So,
And
but
the challenge, Dave, is that the months are more than 4 weeks. They're,
I totally understand, Sarah.
yeah, that's
with you
the
on this one.
discrepancy. So,
Okay, let's bring this back a little bit. Okay, Sarah submitted 3 invoices, and she basically lists her hours per day, her activities and things like that. And as we just discussed, I believe that the board has authorized that I can approve her invoices if they're under $2,500 per month, which is according to our budget. All 3 of these invoices are slightly above that. I think it's $2,580 for September or October, that type of thing. So it's not significantly over the $2,500, but it is to a point where I do need to get board approval. Is everybody? I'm trying to find those in my emails here, just to give you more of a exact figure. Let's see here. Oops. Let me just find them real quick so I can go actually tell you what the numbers are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big issue is that if it's 4.3 hours roughly, or weeks in a month, then it's never going to add up, right?
It'll be close. I mean, you're basically talking there's a cushion of about 3 hours. So per month at the $30 per hour rate. So anyways.
Dave, while you're looking at it, maybe an easy way to do that is to say if the invoice comes in at 15% or 115% of budget, then you can go ahead and approve it. And if it's over 115%, then you'd have to, because then you're talking $250, $300 difference, and then that's a lot of hours, obviously. I think that would do what Nina's asking, to give you the leeway to go ahead and approve them, get Sarah paid. Like the $2,580, you're $80 over. Holding an invoice for a month to get $80 approval doesn't seem fair to Sarah or to the organization. So I would recommend something along those lines. And somebody that's better at math than me, maybe just 10% is all you need, which is $250 extra, which is almost 10 hours. So
yeah, I think that would do it. But I do want to. I'm having trouble finding these things for some reason.
That's why I was killing time while you're looking.
Yes.
We could sing Christmas carols while he's looking.
Excellent.
Or Hanukkah songs. I know one.
You can sing all you want on mute. Go ahead.
That's funny.
Wow.
Obviously, somebody who has heard me sing.
Bah humbug. No. Totally joking.
My commitment to work only 20 hours a week, so I'm not putting in extra. There is, and compared to this time last year, there's a lot more going on with the 0 days. But again, I work a little extra. That's my contribution. But so I just want your commitment, your understanding of my commitment to work to bill for 20 hours a week in that 4.5 weeks a month.
I can't seem to find them. like I said, it's less than $100 per over the $2,500. So what I'd like to
So
have
then the
is a
10%
motion
works.
to approve those 3 invoices for September, October, November, and then a separate motion, or we can do it all at once, however you want to do it, to approve that 110% of the budgeted amount. Otherwise, I'd come back to the board.
I'd recommend doing them separately.
Okay.
Make the motion.
So make a motion to approve the invoices.
So a motion's on the table to approve the invoices as presented.
So moved.
Need a
This
second?
is Collins.
Susan seconds. Susan Collins seconded. So motion's been made by Bantillo, seconded by Collins. Any abstain? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motions are approved.
Right. And the second one is more mechanical. So it sounds like the 115% is probably a reasonable number. So motion to provide President discretionary authority to approve invoices at 100% of budget amount
110%.
as necessary.
110%.
110%. Thank you.
They said 115 or 110.
Yes, 115 or 110.
110 is the motion on the table, which has not been seconded yet. So if you want to discuss the amount, that's fine. At 10%, you're at $250
I was waiting a second
extra.
until this was worked out.
Say again.
I was waiting to second it until it was worked out. It's just a number. Is it 110 or 115?
Let's do 110, just to be consistent with what Mick was saying.
Okay, I will
Agreed.
second that.
Okay, so the motion has been made to allow the President discretionary authority to go ahead and approve the invoices from the Executive Director at 110% without having to come back to the board, but anything over 110% of budgeted amount would then come back to the board. So the motion has been made by Bantillo, seconded by Collins. Any abstentions? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion's approved. Thank you guys for that one. All right, Dave, continue.
Sarah will make an effort, as her and I have discussed, to try to keep it to the 20 hours. But as she mentioned, there's a lot of things play into it. When there's a board call, the weeks that there are board calls, also with all the activity of the Zero Waste Conference, which is a great thing, that kind of makes it difficult for her to budget her time effectively when things come and need to be taken care of. So, but she'll make an effort to keep to the 20 hours as her and I have discussed. But anyways, let's move on. The second things I need, first of all, I want to compliment the Markets Council. Chantal and Wayne are our co-chairs, and a lot of board members are active on there, and a lot of board members who aren't even on that committee have been active in some of the calls. So I want to commend that council for their hard work. They're really working hard to develop the schedule for the 2020 workshop series. As many of you know, we had a workshop scheduled for November in Chula Vista, California, but because of the America Recycles Day week events, it's not only a day now, it seems to be a whole week of events in a lot of places. The attendance wasn't there, so we decided to pull the plug and postpone that. We have regrouped, and we're working with Zero Waste San Diego now, along with our affiliate CRRA, and we're going to be doing the workshop on February 11th in San Diego as part of Zero Waste San Diego's annual one-day conference. It basically, a lot of the agenda workshop or agenda content and speakers and things like that have been already done. And so we're just basically handing this off to our friends at Zero Waste San Diego. They're taking care of registration. They're taking care of, we're doing some promotion for it, but they're getting sponsors and things like that. So the agreement is they will be keeping any money that they get from registrations or their sponsors. The NRC can make some money if we obtain sponsors for the event. Once again, so what I need and what's included in your packet, I believe, is the MOU that the US EPA puts out for every single workshop, and so I need to get that approved so that it can, if once it may not be in its final version, and I apologize for that, but we're coming against the Christmas holiday, and if we wait until January to get it approved, we don't have much time to do promotion and would not be able to use the EPA logo and name in that promotion. So we're looking for approval of the MOU as it stands and to give me authority to make minor adjustments to it where needed. If you have any comments or changes that need to be made to the February 11th MOU with the crowd, the Zero Waste San Diego and CRA, please let me know. But that's one motion I need. We want to handle them separately, Mr. Chair?
Dave?
Yes.
Dave, this is Lynn Rubenstein. As we communicated by email this morning, I did have some concerns about both MOUs. This is obviously the easier one, excuse me, and some of my concerns focused on the readiness of the NRC website to meet the requirements of security and policies and handicapped accessibility. And I know you indicated that Bob Hollis was going to be either report back that we're all good with that already or that it will be done. And I was really hoping we could have a firm handle on that because as I said to you in an email this morning, I hadn't noticed that requirement before and it makes me queasy.
Okay. Yeah, essentially you have to make sure it's your website and the registration process is accessible according to NRC, US EPA's policy. And so that's why that provision is in there. Since we are not handling the registration for neither the workshop in San Diego on the 11th or the workshop on the 11th also in Memphis with KAB, that is not applicable to this. It's very similar to the MOU that we did with STAR at their workshop in San Antonio in the fall. And so that language would be assigned to them. They've got to make sure. But I don't know if Bob is still on the line.
Yeah.
But I did pose this question to Bob, and Bob, can you address that?
Yeah, happily. I teach cybersecurity classes, and I also teach classes on Section 508 compliance, which is what you're referring to as ADA accessibility. And a majority of my projects are publicly funded. So I make sure that all of our sites do meet those needs. There's a list of a checklist of things that you go through for Section 508 and another more extensive version called a VTAP that I'm currently working on for Humboldt County. So I'd be happy to do that for our site as well. We also have multiple layers of security, including an SSL certificate, and our sites scan 3 times a day by 2 different malware packages, in addition to firewalls and using Cloudflare to obfuscate our IP from hackers. So we meet all levels of security. Some of my sites, I do financial transactions for banking organizations and federal government. So we do meet all of those standards.
Okay,
That's great. Thank you, Bob. Do we have the privacy policy?
Yes, we do. That's needed for a GDPR. Let me make sure. Oh, you know what? We will by the end of this meeting. It's in here, but when we updated the footer, it should still be here somewhere. But we did have it in the footer before. So
Great.
We are in all of the, we need to have that posted for sure, but we do meet GDPR and we have that text already.
That's
So,
great. Thank you so much for that. That's all really great news. Still, I think it would be great to delete the language that's in both of the MOUs.
Lynn, it will be taken care of and changed. Like I said, that the one that we are referring to was the KAB, and that was, as I mentioned in my response to you, that was done, or that draft was developed prior to Is that somebody else beeping or me?
I can
It
hear
looks
it.
like Fran McPoland.
All right. Yeah, I see that. Anyways, so that draft was done before. It was agreed to that KEB would take care of the registration and other things, which I'll mention in a couple seconds here. So we will get that language changed, and I will also incorporate all the rest of your suggestions. If anybody else has any suggestions for either MOU, please send them to me. But like I said, I need to have approval and discretion to make said changes so that we can move forward once the MOUs are finalized. All right.
I
So,
think Dave's
Mr.
motions should probably be separate.
That'd
just
be
to
fine.
keep
So
everything nice and clear. Yep.
can you do the motion for the actual? It's a zero waste San Diego agreement in California.
So I need a motion for the zero waste MOU from someone, since I'm not a motioner. Anybody
Alec,
there?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, so Alec makes the motion. Anybody second the motion for the
Karen will
MOU?
second.
30 seconds.
All right. Wayne seconded. Alec made the motion to approve the MOU for the San Diego conference. Any abstain? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. The second one, which is actually listed first, but we are, which actually brings a very good point that Lynn pointed out in her comments. In 2020 series of workshops, we're actually going to be co-hosting with non-affiliated organizations, NRC non-affiliates. Of the past ones have always been one of our affiliates, and so there may be. Let me just step back. The MOU that's in front of you is basically on how we can use the EPA logo and name it, and it's for promotion and for the conference and things like that. It has nothing to do with our agreement with our co-host in terms of who is there a revenue share, what happens if there's shortfalls, things like that. And it's always been a kind of a gentleman's agreement, if you will, and excuse the vernacular there. But with our affiliates on, we'll do a 60-40 split or a 75-25 split, depending on how much work, who is doing what work, and things like that. And we've always made a little bit of money or broke even at worst. And so it's been fine till now. I think we may have to have some type of agreement for this revenue sharing and expense incurment type of thing. So we'll work on that. But the same day as the California workshop, we're also having a workshop in conjunction with the KEB conference in Memphis, Tennessee on February 11th. And so we have a similar MOU from the EPA regarding those two and those organizations. Actually, the comments from Lynn also got me thinking that I need to really get them to change the title of these things, because they're really not sponsors, they're actually partners in a lot of ways. And they're not bringing, the EPA is not bringing financial support to us, they're bringing content support, bringing their name, of course, things like that. So we need to look at seeing if that change to partnership agreement or something like that. So anyways, what's different about the KEB is that they're also going to be doing the registration, because we don't want to have people have to write 2 checks and visit 2 websites. And so they agreed to do that. But also what's interesting is that they're going to be utilizing their development staff to try to obtain sponsorships on behalf of the NRC, on behalf of the workshop. And so that's why really I think we need to look at some type of revenue sharing agreement as well. They have asked Chantal, Wayne, and I during conversations what we would want to, how much sponsorship we want to generate. And we gave them a $7,500 figure. We've talked about the registration fees and expenses and things like that. and they're covering a lot of things as well, including the room and AV and stuff like that. So with that, this one is a total draft form. So every comment that Lynn has made is applicable to this one. But once again, if we wait till our January call, we won't be able to do the promotion properly. So that's why I'm asking for approval and your permission to make some changes to this MOU and then sign it once it's completed or finalized. And I have no problem sending it out to the executive committee if need be as well. So it's up to whoever wants to make the motion, how they want to state it. Thank you.
Okay, if anyone would like to make a motion for the approval and with the changes that they've discussed, I'm willing to open the floor to that. Am I still on?
This is O'Brien. I'll make that motion.
I'm sorry, who was that?
That was Sarah. I just lost you guys for a second, but
okay.
It was Kieran that made the motion.
And Bantillo second.
Okay. Was that Karen?
Kieran O'Brien motion, Bantillo second.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So the motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any abstain? Any opposed? Hearing none. The motion's approved.
Thank you all. They're pretty standardized MOUs to this point, but there's always some nuances at every different workshop because of different cast of characters. The other thing I wanted to mention, it's in my report, but more recycling is bringing the next generation of the platform to the NRC. Nina has worked on and has distributed to numerous people for input the new memo of understanding about the next generation of platform. You will be receiving it after the holiday, the Christmas holiday. Please take some time to look through it, mark it up, send me your comments, send Nina the comments, so we can get this finalized at the beginning of the year. There's a lot of changes and a lot of intricacies in this one versus the last one, and also we had that executive committee call about the need for a disclaimer of the ACC acknowledgement of support, and that will be included in some way in that as well. But it's important that you guys really look at this one. This is not a cookie cutter type of agreement. This is pretty involved. So please take a look at it once you receive it and get your comments in as soon as you can. But I may be calling for a special board call to discuss and hopefully approve that MOU with more recycling. So just keep it on your radar if you would. Also, I think Barb asked for a list of NRC committees and the various board members who are on those committees, and I did include that, and I think there's a link on the agenda for it. It's an Excel document. Let me know if there's any errors or if anybody's left off of it. And also I want to encourage you to talk to members, our NRC affiliate members, to get them to join our committees as well. I think we need the manpower, if you will. The last thing I want to mention is the NRC board commitment and conflict of interest statement. A number of you, majority of the board has provided that to me, but there are some stragglers, so we need to get that done. I also want to mention that I'm going to ask Sarah and Mary Alice to really pay attention to attendance in the upcoming year. If you cannot attend a board call or a board meeting, you need to let us know. We need to have active participation in these calls because we want everybody's viewpoint to be heard. And lastly, I pointed out the activities of the Markets Council. I also want to point out the activities of Leslie and Gary Liss, and of course Sarah D'Souza. and others, and Alec as well, and Susie Gordon on the various committees, specifically related to the Zero Waste Conference. It's amazing how that's coming together. So I want to point out that. And I also want to thank everyone for their commitment to the NRC and their hard work on every committee that they participate on. We can't do this without you. So thank you for your hard work, and have a great holiday. I'm done.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions for Dave? Hearing none, we'll move to, oops, go ahead. Okay, we'll move to item 7 on the printed agenda, which is, and it's number 8 on the screen. Let's see, what's number, well, we got a different agenda on the screen than what we have in the print. So we're going to move to board business now, the NRC strategic plan. Karen, I think, are you doing that one?
Can we do the board, the ones on the screen?
Okay.
So we don't miss something.
Okay, market development we just did, I think, unless Nina, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I've got some slides. For those who weren't on previous meetings, I just want to make sure we're all kind of on the same page with what the platform is.
Okay.
And Nina, you should be able to show your screen.
Okay, thank you, Bob. So as Dave was explaining, there's another MOU, and the reason for that is that the first tool that we made available to the NRC was the info exchange, and that, for those that are not familiar, I think everyone is, but it's a tool where we're trying to bring forward information on market development activities across the country. And it's something that we look forward to building out as we work more collaboratively with those on the board and beyond. The platform is much broader than just the info exchange. And the impetus for it is that we are in a state of we've always needed market development, but we now more than ever need to stimulate the American recycling economy and bring the balance of supply and demand. We need to bring the supply-demand disconnect into balance. So the platform that my team has been developing, and we did get seed money for some of the development from the American Chemistry Council, is to deliver the tools that help organizations, and I mean that as institutions and businesses and government agencies, to the tools needed for them to increase the demand for recycled materials, improving the quality of collection of materials, ideally providing insight into various policies, and then ultimately the information on the state and impact of recycling. I think that we've not been telling that story as much as we have the opportunity to do as the National Recycling Coalition. And ultimately, because we're in kind of a vacuum of smart policy across the country, we need to recognize those leaders that are supporting recycling market development for all materials. So the opportunity is for the NRC to secure sponsors that want to support market development, to both infuse funding to the organization as well as provide more value in terms of information and resources to its members, current and hopefully in the future. So just to kind of level set us in terms of timing, I really hope to have the platform finalized by before December 1st, and I got a little bit more ambitious and decided to build in more enhancements, more features to it, much to my team's dismay, but I want it to be right. And before we launch it, I think it's really important that we have a promotional plan, that we've nailed down exactly how the sponsorship is going to work, what the relationship is between my company, being very clear in any conflict of interest, as stated, the disclaimer around any sponsors and what influence that has on the organization, and making it really clear what the value prop is to the members. So there's a lot that needs to be worked out, and I didn't want to ask the board to vote on the MOU until you have a real sense of what the platform is. and that you've had enough time to really digest the MOU and conceptually. We have a document that Alec has helped me with. Provide the real concept of this so you can take it away and have enough time to digest, and then we can vote on it in January. So this is not the final form, but I just wanted to give those on the call a bit of a sneak preview of what this platform is. So instead of just the info exchange, which is one widget in the platform, I'm going to kind of go through some of the screenshots of what we have. So we've developed a logo that is specific to the recycling market development platform, and the tagline is stimulating the American recycling economy, better policy, greater innovation, more action. And I will be opening, as we share the prototype, get some feedback from you guys. And I do want to be somewhat provocative given how significant the challenge is right now that American recycling is breaking down, and imagine a future without it. The next images within the platform, in addition to being able to drop into specific tools, is to help really unfold the story of the supply-demand imbalance and what is involved, and bringing forward very specific stats. So we're grounding ourselves in it's not just rah jobs through recycling, which is important, but grounding ourselves in where we are right now in terms of recycling and why it's important to recycle. So I'm bringing in some stats, and this will all be clicked through so you can get to additional information, such as you can see on the screen, like what is the current recycling rate? What is the energy savings from examples of different materials that are recycled? And then clicking through and showing information from our EPA.
Nina, we're not doing this on the screen, just so you know.
Is anyone else seeing it?
No.
I am.
I can see it.
I've got it.
It's displayed.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
There is a delay, just so you know, when you click on something, it shows up several seconds later. So that's happening too, just FYI.
Nina, you can click the audience view in your panel to see when the slide actually changes, if that helps.
Okay. I don't know if I see audience.
In the top of the panel, right below the screen sharing block, you should see audience view, and you can open that while you.
Okay. Well, I don't want to spend too much time. I want to give you guys a bit of a sense. Do you need to see it bigger? Because I didn't put it in presentation mode. I'll do that real quick.
Oh, this is a cool preview. I love seeing this, Nina. This is amazing.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's not, I'm still keep moving things around, but we need to show where are the specific drivers that are missing right now. We've been so focused on collection and education, which will still, there's always a need for that, improving the quality of the stream, getting more materials recycled. And I've been thinking through the audience that we're trying to target, and I have a tendency to go a little bit too ambitious, but I think we need to provide tools to businesses, to government agencies, and to the citizen. And so we're trying to make this very approachable for each of those audiences, tell the story, allow people to go down rabbit holes and learn more, and building in the flexibility so that, ACC provided from a plastics perspective, but how do we then approach other industry groups, other consultants like More Recycling that are experts in other materials, the flexibility for them to also infuse their resources. So I reached out to Bill Moore with Moore & Associates for him to provide a stat specific to paper. For me, one of the most powerful things, I'll just kind of share anecdotally with plastics, is that for the olefin stream, we have less than 5% of the reclamation capacity relative to the virgin resin capacity coming online. So showing some of those stats, but also getting it from other material groups. So Bill has offered to provide us a good graphic and stat in the first week of January, as I'm trying to reach out to other materials.
Who is that again, Nina? Bill who?
Bill Moore. He has Moore & Associates, not to get confused with Moore Recycling, but he's an expert in fiber, tracks the fiber market.
Okay, thank you.
And then so we're creating this in a way that you can find how to use this tool based on the tool type, based on the material type, and as the audience, as what role you play within the whole recycling value chain. So it's each thing is going to be interactive and click through. And the holy grail to me is then to have these dashboards by material type that are dynamic and bringing in real-time information on the state of recycling. So in the long term, I hope to make this platform a place of resources as well as telling the story of the state of recycling from the perspective of NRC and all of its affiliates that help feed good data to show the state of plastic recycling. Just as the reminder here, the entering into the info exchange, that is one tool within this platform. And as Len noted, it doesn't have anything and everything. So what we'll be working on is adding more information within the specific categories, as well as the different additional layers to this map. For me, information helps inspire people, but it's not everything. If we had, for example, just to kind of jog your imagination, each of the landfills across the country and what the cost of landfill is for each, or we are able to show where are bottle bills across the country and what are the recycling rates for those bottle bills versus states without bottle bills. Just helping us bring to life what the variations across the country are, I think are going to be powerful as communities, citizens, and businesses look at what we need to do. What are the tools in the toolbox to really stimulate the American recycling economy?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I could have totally used that when I was with Disney, the map of all the landfills and rates. And then we could have a little module that shows people how to calculate avoided disposal. Here's the savings that are going in your pocket to fund recycling or any other reuse good programs you want to do when you're not throwing those materials away. People never remember, except for geeks like us, to count all that. So that would be super cool to make that a really evident tool. This is
and I haven't brought that to life enough, and that's where I'm pushing back on my team. So right here, it's not obvious enough. The recycling one can saves enough to power a 60-watt light bulb for 20 hours. But what we want to do is then bring in, here's the I'm Warm widget. So we bring the existing tools to life and allow the citizen to play with, when I do these things, it has this impact. Or if you're a local government, we have a calculator tool to look at the cost benefit of setting up recovery for specific materials. There's so much information out there. How do we infuse it in the most accessible way in one platform? So let's see, where am I? So then, as I mentioned, the info exchange is one widget within the tool. Another widget is the buy recycled products directory. We've been populating that since we met back in August. A lot more products that are now listed, and we'll be adding a search feature to it. It also clicks through to the other widget on the platform, which is plasticmarkets.org. This is the issue we get from major brands that make commitments. Well, we can't find enough supply of PCR. There's a whole reason as to why. Part of it is that we have a major bottleneck in terms of we haven't made the investments into the collection, sorting, reprocessing infrastructure, but there are supplies of PCR. So how do we make that information more available? And that's the plasticmarkets.org. These are so just two widgets within the platform, in addition to the info exchange that you guys have already seen. So this is not pretty here, but what we're working on is then developing with the final version of the platform is how do we modify the sponsorship opportunities. So in addition to being able to sponsor specific workshops, conferences, other events, or offerings from the NRC, my not proposal today, but the concept here is that organizations or businesses that want to specifically become a patron of recycling market development and get their logo on the platform, that we ask for significant sponsorship dollars for that. And within the MOU, we'll be very explicit. NRC, I'm not asking as an organization, my company be compensated for anything sponsors that are for any other ask, just specific to the platform, but to cover the cost of, my company maintaining a really strong platform that includes the hosting, maintenance, and license, the content development that we're continuing to come up with, creating that dashboard of dynamic recycling stats, updates and enhancements to the info exchange, more data sets. The concept that I haven't conveyed all the way through here is that we'll have an impact tracker and ask companies to report into the system how much recycled content, and then vetting that to be able to celebrate at the end of the year who are the giants of the recycling economy, and then aggregating that data into what is the CO2 equivalent savings from companies using recycled content. So that's a responsibility that my company is taking on. I'm not asking for that from the NRC, but that's a big, heavy lift in terms of the technology on the back end and how we're connecting it with EPA's WasteWise and WARM model. And then the general administration